I'd like to welcome you to the session about information technology careers. We have Steve and Victoria joining us today, and I'll let them take it from here.
Go ahead, Victoria.
Hi, I'm Victoria O'Neill, and I work at Vermeer Corporation in Pella, Iowa, in the IT department. So essentially, I've been at Vermeer for about 14 years and had a few different roles inside of the IT department. Did not start out thinking I was going to be a technology-based worker at all. I started more with a business background and kind of morphed into a technology area for my job. And what I focus on is technology adoption. So that essentially means helping people learn the technology tools they have for their work and how they can use them.
Awesome. And I'm Steve Linder. I'm Vice President of IT at TMC Transportation. We're based out of Des Moines, Iowa here. We've got branch offices all over the country, including one in Ames at the Technology Research Park at Iowa State. I've been in IT for over 30 years, and my role at TMC is I oversee all of the technology aspects of the business, which is, as Victoria can probably agree, it's in every area of the company. So like it or not, technology is embedded in every single department, every single corner of our business, as it is with most businesses in the state here. So what I do is I promote getting into technology, not just for our company. I don't recruit just for our company, but I really like to see people get interested in technology because it is a future. It is a future career. You can get into a lot of different areas without super high-tech backgrounds. You can get into technology with data science backgrounds or security backgrounds or technical writing if you're really good in English or writing skills are really good. You can get into it a lot of different ways, and I really encourage people to take a look at that opportunity. What I'll talk about today is some of the positions that we have at TMC that are probably pretty standard across the state here. I'll talk about some of those positions. I'll cover some of the hot positions, the positions that we're really looking for, where people are hard to find and in demand. And then I'll finish with a couple of areas that where I think you can, as students right now, you can get involved. Even today, you can get involved with getting a foot in the door at some of these companies. So I guess I'll just open it up for questions right now. I don't have the chat open here, but maybe through the chat, or Victoria, if you want to really talk about your business day-to-day, your job day-to-day, maybe that will stir some chat questions here.
Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit to the career path type of piece a little bit, and then talk about what my role is, because my role is very new. It's something that we've just realized is a need, and tried to kind of get it off the ground as far as making sure we're connecting with people. And that's one of the biggest challenges, I think, in technology, is being able to have good communicators that can work with the business folk and work with IT and kind of translate that information between the two. And normally that's a business analyst, but a lot of my role focuses on communication, actually. But just to talk a little bit about the tracks that we have, there's a more technical track. And from that, you're really talking about people who are going into programming or infrastructure architects that are looking at how do we build our systems, how do we set up our environments that our applications live in, and people all the way to people that are going to be network engineers, or they're going to be running cables to get things set up, or our tech support team members that really need great communication skills as well, because they are actually talking to all of our customers, making sure they help with any issues that are going on with the technology people use. We also have more developers and software architects, people who are actually building applications, or maybe from scratch, maybe they're just modifying applications for us to use because we need something a little bit different. Then you have more of the project management piece. So in IT, at least at Vermeer, we're asked to do a lot of projects that help our business grow and that help our customers. And those projects could range from buying a piece of software and implementing it to building a piece of software that's maybe homegrown or built at Vermeer and used for Vermeer. And in that instance, we need a whole team of project managers. We need business analysts that can be that communication between the business and IT to say, okay, what requirements do you have? How do you want this to be built? What do you need the system to do? And digging through what that means to different people is important, because if I say that I want the pen to look red and I want it to be, in this box, I could have a different picture in my brain than what your picture is of what that is. So we have to get very detailed and very clear to make sure we're building what they need, because you can't actually see that unless you maybe draw things out or do brainstorming and kind of do those iterations to get things taken care of. And then there's the management track, because along with this, we all need to make sure that we're moving in the same direction. So from an overarching standpoint, our technology managers are responsible for making sure that we are developing a path for how we're going to support technology at Vermeer, but also making sure that we're making those right choices on where we want to support it, because we have the ability to kind of mold and shape how our team works and what tools they use. And we need to make sure we're making the best choices for our team members and making sure that they have everything they need to get their work done. But we also need to make sure we keep things secure. We have applications that are the best to run, and that we're moving along from that standpoint. So we can get into more details on questions about different roles, but there are all those different areas and those different tracks that we have. I would say mine, I don't even know if it was technically on the list of which track I needed to be in, but my role really came out of, I work with all of the Microsoft tools that Vermeer uses, and I started to introduce those to our team members. And a part of introducing that was, we can hand you something brand new, but unless you know what the value is to you and how to use it in a productive way, then it's just one more thing on your plate. It's one more thing to have to take care of or do. And people like to do things the way they're used to. And they need to see the value in the change. So a lot of my work consists of communication, making sure people know ahead of time what's happening, how to use the tools, and then a lot of micro learning. So these little pieces of information that give people just tiny little lessons on how to use things. Very, very simple, because people are not going to sit down in a business world for 8 hours out of the day and learn one thing or learn one tool. I need to sprinkle in little bits of knowledge to them. So that's pretty much what my my work focuses around, and a lot of the standards on how should we be communicating, when should we be telling people that something is going to be worked on, and how much information do they need to know. So really bridging the gap between the people who are actually doing the work, building the systems, keeping the lights on and everything running, and the business that relies on our technology to work. Because if our technology does not work, they do not work. And so we need to make sure that we're taking care of every need that they have and keeping us safe, right? The security aspect is a big deal. And honestly, I would say one of the hottest areas kind of in our organization, people, need to make sure that they are providing safe tools. And a lot of people don't even realize how important that is until you get into a larger organization or it impacts you personally, and you don't want that to happen. So.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of that, I'm going to share my screen. I have a visual that might help kind of tie all this together. And I hope everybody can see this here. So I'm going to blow it up here. It's not going into full mode, is it?
No. Mm-mm.
Can
There
you,
we go. It
can you
looks
see
like
it there?
it's transitioning a little bit. Yep.
Okay. Well, let me know when you can see the slide here.
We can see your preview, like your preview.
Okay,
It's
so
not the full slideshow, but it's your preview of the slideshow.
oh, okay. I think it's a little bit behind here. So I'm going to, for some reason, I'm not sure why it's appearing, but
We're
I'll
seeing
kind of,
careers.
you're seeing careers right now?
Mhm. Yep.
Do you see, okay, so do you see the engineering operations?
Yes.
Okay.
And we're seeing the preview of the next slide, but
Oh, okay. Okay. So yeah, it's not showing exactly how we want, but I want to show some of the areas that I'm responsible for in information technology. May vary a little bit from company to company, but we have an engineering group of engineers. I would say one of the newer areas would be our cloud engineers, DevOps, the ones that automate all of the development from start to finish, architects, database administrators. The operations team would be your help desk support. We'd put cybersecurity in there. Victoria mentioned the importance of cybersecurity analysts in a business. Also the hottest growing area as well in our company. Data science is another area where you can get into. So individuals with math degrees, economic backgrounds, business backgrounds fall into that data science area. And various levels of education there. We're actually looking for a PhD level data scientist. So we train internally, but we need those people to have the experience too. Software development would be our biggest area where we have developers and teams of developers. I'm in the administration area, and then you have your project management. And again, this is where you might have positions that are individuals who are good at organizing projects, may not have to be technical, but understand the business really well. And then your technical writers, and we have trainers and things like that. So probably a pretty generic look at how most businesses structure their operations area. And I've highlighted, I don't know if you can see the highlights, but our hottest areas right now are cloud engineers, DevOps, cybersecurity, and then data scientists. So we work on projects all over the place at our company, and those projects usually take individuals from all of these areas to make it work. So everything that we do in a team, and that actually makes it fun because we usually celebrate when we're done and we have a good time while we're doing it, but it's also a great way to cross-train, work together, push yourself, challenge yourselves, and learn from each other. So team development, team projects are the best. And I'm just going to show you one example of a project that we've worked on recently. Our trucks have 5 cameras on them. So one facing the road, one facing the driver that's turned off. You can't see it in this picture. And then we have cameras on the side and one on the back. But what we're looking for is problems, safety related problems along the way. So when a driver is driving in a 55 mile per hour, or I'm sorry, a 55 mile per hour construction zone, but his speedometer is showing 65, not only do we know it from the telematics of the truck, but we take a picture of that as it happens. And we bring that down into a computer, and then we use AI and machine learning to train these systems to watch these videos and determine if there's an anomaly. So ultimately what happens is all of that gets reported up into a balanced scorecard. And so the whole point here that I'm trying to get at is that it really takes a lot of different types of people. You have to have people on the data science side to really validate the data that's coming across, the developers, mobile developers to make the app so that individuals can see. And there's just a lot of different things going on. I'm not sure if this is appropriate for this particular session here, but I did want to say there are a lot of great resources out there. You have to be kind of careful on what resources that you get tied into. Obviously, if you have tech classes at your high school, it's a great way to get started, get your foot in the door somewhere. No matter what your age is or where you're at in your career, starting a portfolio is really smart. Portfolio of the work that you've done, even if it's a little small project that you've done to help a company out, or it's a personal project that you worked on, but start that stuff early. And if anything, it will show how you progress year over year. I also recommend finding a mentor, someone who you know in a field that you're interested in. And you might have to talk to individuals that you may know to find that person. It might be a little hard to find the exact person that you need, but by talking to people, you'll get there. Obviously, there's really great online resources. I can't tell you which ones are great or not, but I love CS50 from Harvard. There's a kind of a new kid on the block. He's a really good tech resource. He's young. He's probably in his early 20s. He has a YouTube channel called Tech with Tim. He does a lot of cool things with learning about technology. Everybody's heard of Khan Academy. But I think most importantly on this slide here is that look for the opportunities around internships and apprenticeships. We at TMC, we've hired high school kids in between their junior and senior year to come and work for us. They've learned about the business. They end up going to Iowa State, and then they stay on with TMC as an intern all those years. And eventually we hire them. So look for those opportunities. Obviously, it doesn't have to be TMC. It can be Vermeer or whoever, but there's a lot of great opportunities out there. You just have to start looking for them or call around. You never know. Check the websites. And anyway, I just kind of wanted to pass through this one. And lastly, I know that we were asked to put this together, but we polled our staff here at our company. And this is the breakdown of the levels of experience that people have. So no PhDs yet. We have one working on it, but we have people here that have joined us right out of high school. It's very possible. We have people that have joined kind of at the floor and have climbed all the way into management positions or lead positions. Others, like myself, didn't get their master's until late in life. I think I was probably 40 when I got my master's degree. So everybody's a little bit different, but the whole goal here is that we keep learning and that there are different areas of education. Now, degrees can come in various areas too. They can be computer science, MIS, engineering, for TMC, supply chain management is a big major, data science majors, cybersecurity degrees. There's masters in cybersecurity now. So there's all kinds of different paths to take. And you just kind of have to look for those. And that's really it with TMC. I just wanted to at least kind of explain what we do here at our company and what it might look like at other companies. I'm going to stop here and just kind of open up the floor for questions for Victoria and I.
Can you share, you both kind of mentioned a little bit about skills that might be helpful, but can you maybe list out some of the general skills that really should be focused on if you're interested in a career in information technology?
So I think it can vary across, which area that you're more interested in. I would say anything that you can garner as far as communication skills, whether it's public speaking or, any kind of classes you can do around that, is going to help not only for you to be able to advocate for yourself as you move through your education, but for you to be noticed and seen in your role. So working on those, if we're talking about basic things to work on, communication is very important. And then you can obviously grow in the technology resources. I think there are some ways to even get connected. If you're looking at maybe Microsoft tools, you can look at LinkedIn Learning, or you can go to the Microsoft site and get courses there just to kind of get interested in seeing what are these different areas and what do they mean. So I would encourage them to be inquisitive and look at those different areas. Organization is a huge thing. So it's good to work on organization of just yourself and your tasks and being able to know how you work best, because not everybody works the same way, and that's okay. just knowing how you can fit to what you need and doing that. I always like to tell people, you know, I have a daughter who's 17, and I say, I want to make sure that you go into something that you have a passion for, because you want to make sure that you're working somewhere and you're doing something that you love instead of doing something you feel like you have to do. And I love my role. I happen to kind of fall into it given communication and other personal skills that I have, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So working on just who they are as a person, that communication, some organization things, that basics, and then adding in looking at different areas of technology, because it may seem like one thing on paper, but once you actually get to talk to someone about it or spend more time looking at it, it may be totally different, to where you might want to look at programming and check out some basic skills around that. Steve, do you have anything to add to that one?
Oh, I would agree. I think you hit it right on the head. Communication is definitely a great soft skill to have. You know, I think it really depends on what you're interested in. You know, some people, all they want to do is work on mobile apps, and you know, that's definitely a path that's unique, and focusing on the UI side of things, or even the back end side of things of mobile development. It's really become, we've really kind of developed a bunch of subject matter experts in IT these days. So you really have to kind of find the area that interests you the most. And I think concentrate on that area, become an expert, and carry along those soft skills like communication and organizational skills that Victoria mentioned. But I would agree.
You also mentioned a couple of things, like getting involved with tech classes and looking into internships, apprenticeships, experience, things like that. What if you don't have anything in your area, location-wise? What are some other things that, you know, thinking about 9th, 10th graders in high school even, what can they do to set themselves apart and get themselves kind of on the right path?
Well, that's a tough one. Every community has its challenges, right? One thing that's true though these days is COVID-19's changed a lot of things. Here we are on a Zoom call, and we're all working together as we would in a room together. It's feasible now to do more and more virtual and remote work. So I wouldn't discount the fact that those individuals in communities that do not have businesses close by, they may still have opportunities. We're definitely opening the door for remote internships as well. You know, I think that, you know, depending on your school, typically there's groups and clubs and things like that may perk your interest. There's also great groups that are nationwide. I've helped out with different hackathons, and Girls Who Code is a great organization. That's a great group. There's a local chapter in the Des Moines area. Again, you don't have to be there. So there's definitely some opportunities there. I would definitely get with one of your resource advisors at your school to see if they can help you search for those opportunities. I think you'd be surprised on what you can find.
I absolutely agree with Steve on that one. It is difficult not knowing the area, particularly where you can kind of plug into information, but if there was something local, that would be best, to be able to be connected with people that you know there. I have noticed that as I work mainly on Microsoft tools, there's a great community built for like each area of the Microsoft tools that's online and with a virtual information. So you could, if you were super passionate and wanted to learn about how to write workflows and create mobile apps and do things with Power Apps or Power Automate, something like that with Microsoft, or just general adoption, there are things that you can plug into, but you do have to you want to know that you're plugging into the right area that you need. So reaching out for resources within your school is important, and knowing what they have, and then seeing, I guess, maybe if at that point your schools can network with some other like local colleges or local employers to see if there are other offerings that can be had. That would probably be great.
Yeah, and trust me that businesses are reaching down into high schools right now. I mean, it is no. I mean, we're going to the middle school level. We're working with local schools to get in and start to work or open up our office. You know, we did an open house recently, or actually it was before the lockdown, but we had a group come in the Des Moines area here, and we worked on a project together. So, you know, they're definitely out there. You have to do some searching, do some digging. And again, the companies like TMC and Vermeer are likely already working with your school.
Yeah, we have been working with particularly, we have some apprentices that are starting up, and that's kind of a new effort that started this year in particular areas. And so we have some students that are going to be working with us throughout the year. There are also some student positions during the summertime that you could watch out for and see, you know, what may be of interest to you, because that's a good way to get experience and get understanding of the business. And you can also, you know, change that up and do something different the next summer. Or if you really love it, you know, see how you can continue learning about it.
Another tactic might be, and we've had some kids contact our company, but just asking to job shadow, that gets your foot in the door. So if you have a local company that you've got your eye on, or a business, and it doesn't even have to be local, it could be just anywhere really. Again, remember, we're all virtual now. So, you know, get aggressive and call up the HR department and ask them if they would be open for a job shadow, even if it's a couple of hours. That connects you with that company, and that company may ask you to come back. They may ask you to come in and you know, do an apprenticeship or an internship. But again, you're going to get something out of it because you learn about the business, you see what they're doing, you'll hear about, here are the technologies we're using, here's what you should do, should not do, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that would be a really great opportunity to do a job shadow, because I guarantee you there aren't an awful lot of high school students that actually reach out and ask for something like that. But I think there are more people that would be willing to do it than you would think.
That's right. We had one last year. That was it. And he's, you know what? Since he reached out, he's going to be coming not this spring, but in this next summer, he'll be working with us as an intern. Just all because he actually just reached out and wanted to learn about it, and we kind of followed up with him and found out that he was a good student and everything, and we're going to bring him on for a summer.
Shows initiative.
Yes.
Yeah.
Other questions?
I don't see any other questions in the chat. So I'd like to thank both of you for your time today and sharing your knowledge and expertise and some opportunities within the career, the industry. So I again, thank you. Thank you, students, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.